Hello and welcome to this latest episode of Nonprofit Fundamentals. I'm your host, Stephen Hernandez. One of the most important topics I get asked about is, Stephen, what's the best way to raise funds? Or what's the most effective way to raise money for my organization? I don't know the best reason, best ways per se, but I know what's worked for me. And I approach this way. I approach fund development in a way that's slightly different than a lot of people. So I'm going to share with you what I've done and what's been effective for me, and I encourage you to try it out and let me know if it works for you. So generally, most people, they approach fund development in terms of like grants specifically in this way. They write a towering narrative full of flowery language and amazing content. Then they spend a little bit of time on the budget, then they spend even less time on the work plan. So my suggestion is that you develop an execution-focused work plan. And by that, I mean the first step that you should take as a grant writer, as a program manager, or as an executive director is to think first and work with your staff on the work plan. The work plan is the skeleton, the structure, the framework that will tell you internally and externally, your board or your funders, what you're going to do, how you're going to do it, why you're doing it, and maybe even how you're going to pay for it. So a great example would be is if you're developing an outreach plan, explain who's going to do it. Specifically note the people who are on staff. If they're there already, explain their qualifications, how they got to that point. Why are they useful to this organization? Give the justification, give the person who's in charge, explain what they're going to do, why, how, and how many times. If you walk through that process first, it will allow you to have a clear idea of what resources you're putting in and what outcomes you're hoping to get out of that. So if you put together a very elaborate outreach plan, are you accounting for things like travel costs? If you're putting on a lot of meetings, it will help you to uncover hidden costs, like how much are we going to spend for meetings? Are we going to be buying food? Are we going to be renting rooms? These are all things that will be uncovered if you focus on the work plan rather than the narrative. Everyone knows that what you're doing is important. We're not disputing that. But what is often in dispute is your capacity to carry them out effectively without exhausting your staff. Try it first. Try a work plan. Focus on execution. Do we have the resources in place? Who's going to do it? When is it going to be done by? Who's in charge of checking to make sure it gets done? And what is your internal process for making sure the steps are taking place? And if they're not, what are your internal steps to make sure that they will be done? I hope this is helpful. Again, this is what worked for me. I encourage you to try this out. Let me know. How do you approach fund development? Do you do a work plan? What's the process like? Please comment below, let me know, and I always encourage you to subscribe and share this channel if you find it useful. Thank you so much.